Welcome, Knights, to your next lesson in data. Today we are talking about something called the 5-number summary. So we're going to learn this today, and then on Monday we're going to use the 5-number summary to create something called a box and whisker plot, which is actually something you've all seen before because it was on the benchmark. But in order to make those, we have to know how to do the 5-number summary. So we're just going to jump right in. Key point number 1. Today we are learning about a new idea in data called a quartile. Okay, you may notice that the word quartile kind of looks like the word quarter, means it's going to be cut into fourths. So a quartile is one of 3 numbers that we use to divide the set of data into fourths. You may be thinking like, oh wait, if it's called quartiles, why is it only 3 numbers? Well, that's because each of the numbers divides it into quarters or quartiles. So each quartile has a special name, which we call Q1, Q2, and Q3. So just imagine like this whole big thing here is a bunch of data, and all that we're doing is dividing it into fourths, into 4 pieces using Q1, Q2, Q3. So we know now what Q1, Q2, Q3 are, but maybe we don't know how to find them. So first part we're going to start out. Q2 is the easiest to find, so we're going to start there. The reason that it's the easiest is because it's also the median. So Q2 is the same thing as the median. They mean the same thing. And we have a little practice problem here. So we're going to start by crossing off 10, 120, 10, 90, 30, 60, 30, 45. And we notice now that there are 2 numbers in the middle. Hopefully by now this is something that we're not forgetting. We can remember how to do this. 30 plus 40, 30 plus 40 makes 70. And now 70 divided by 2 makes 35. So the median in this problem is 35. So Q2 equals 35, because it's also the median. So Q2, same thing as the median. Now Q1 and Q3 are a little bit different. So key point number 2, finding Q1 and Q3 uses the same idea, but it's a little bit different. To find Q1, we find the center of all the data less. So basically, 35 right here is my median. I want to look at all the numbers that are less. So I'm going to draw a little bracket here to cut off all the data less than 35. And now all I'm going to focus on are these numbers here, because these are the ones that are less than the median. Now I'm going to find the median of just these numbers. So I'm going to take away this one, take away this one, take away this one, take away this one. And I'm left with Q1 is equal to 30. So I found the median of all the data, and now I'm finding the median of just the smaller half. For the next part, for Q3, we find the center of all the data that is greater than the median. So I'm going to look at all the numbers that are bigger than 35. So I'm just looking at these guys now. The number that's in the middle of these, take away the 40, take away 120, take away 45, take away 90. The next one, Q3, is equal to 60. So it's basically find the median for Q2, and then find the median of the smaller half for Q1, find the median of the bigger half for Q3. This pattern will start to make a lot more sense later on, but for now, we're just going to jump right into another practice problem. So looking at the we do, there's a bunch of numbers here. We're going to find Q1, Q2, Q3. Hopefully the first thing you notice is these numbers are not in order from least to greatest. So we cannot find the median without doing that first. So 16 is the smallest. Then we have 18. Then we have 20. Then we have 24, 30, and 32. So to find the median, take away 1, take away 1, take away 1, take away 1. And notice the median is actually not one number this time, so we're going to add 20 plus 24 gives us 44. 44 divided by 2 gives us 22. So Q2 is 22. So Q2, which is the same thing as the median, is equal to 22. To find Q1, I'm going to look at only the data that's less than the median. So that's all the numbers that are less than 22, which is just these guys. In this list of numbers, it's pretty easy to tell. Q1 is 18, because that's the one that's in the middle. For Q3, hopefully we remember, that it's all the numbers that are bigger than the median, so only the numbers on this side. Out of all these numbers, 30 is in the middle, so Q3 equals 30. All right, on the next one, again, we hopefully notice right away that these numbers are not in order from least to greatest, so we need to start out by putting them in order. 150, then we've got 180, then we've got 200, then we've got 240, then we've got 250, 260, and 280. All right, so the median, take one from here, take one from here, take one from here, take one from here, one from here, one from here. Ooh, this one's an easy one. Q2 is 240 because that one's in the middle. All right, to find Q1, I look at all the numbers that are less than, so just these numbers here. The one that's in the middle of all those numbers is 180. And then for Q3, I look at all the numbers that are bigger than 240, so just these guys. So Q3 is 260. All right, we're going to go ahead and flip it over. So before we look at key point number 3, I'm just going to explain very quickly. This set of data right here, we've already worked with. We already know what Q1, Q2, Q3 are because it was what we did first. So when I write this, it's not because I am a witch who just knows all the answers. It's because we've actually already worked it out. So Q2 was 35, Q1 was 30, and Q3 was 60. Again, I already know that because we've already solved it. It was the first one that we did on the first page. So key point number 3, the 3 quartiles show us where the 25% cutoffs are in a set of data. So that's saying from here to here is 25% of the data. And then from here to here, oh my goodness, this thing is not cooperating, is also 25%. And then to here is also 25%. And after Q3 is also 25%. All right, so just basically all we did was chunk it 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. That's all Q1, Q2, Q3 tell us. So what you're going to do now, there are 2 questions here. You're going to find out what Q1, Q2, and Q3 are. Unfortunately, I forgot to delete this from last year's notes, so you don't need to worry about writing whatever the sentence is. You're just going to find Q1, Q2, Q3 for this set of numbers here. Before you do that, hopefully you notice these are not in order from least to greatest, so make sure that you put them in order. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try this first set of numbers. Pause the video. Pause the video. All right, let's solve this sucker. So first thing we need to do, put them in order from least to greatest. We should notice the first number should be 52, then 55, then 65, then 67, then 78, then 80, then 88. So the median, get rid of this one, 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 get rid of this one. The median, or Q2, is 67. All the numbers that are less than 67, 55 is in the middle. All the numbers that are greater than 67, 80 is in the middle. Great job, you did it. All right, now I want you to go ahead and pause the video again. There's another problem up next. Again, these are not in order, so before you can solve, make sure you put them in order. When you're ready to check this one, you may unpause the video. Pause the video, pause the video, pause the video, pause the video. All right, let's put these guys in order. First thing that we should do, 24 goes first. After 24 goes 32, then goes 33, then 39, then 41, then 50, then 52. Oops, not 62, 52. Then 62. Then 68, and then 70. So the one that's in the middle for Q2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And we notice the middle is 41 and 50. So for this one, we should add 41 plus 50, gives us 91. When we divide 91 by 2, I'm not going to do that here, but you could have done it yourself. 41 divided by 2 gives us 45 and 5/10. So Q2 is 45.5. All right, for finding Q1, this part may have gotten confusing. It's all the numbers that are less than 45.5. So my cutoff of where I should be looking actually includes 41, because 41 is less than the median. So if you didn't include 41, that might have thrown off your answer. Make sure you include it, because 41 is smaller than 45.5. So out of these numbers here, the one that's in the middle should have been 33. And then for Q3, notice 50 is also bigger than 45.5. So for my Q3, should have been all the numbers that are right here, because 55 is bigger than 45.5, so I would include it. And the one that's in the middle there is 62. All right, so key point number 4. So we have found Q1, Q2, and Q3, but you may recall that there are 2 other parts of 5-number summary. So the other 2 parts are actually just the minimum and the maximum. And if you've forgotten, again, the minimum is the least, and the maximum is the greatest. So it's the least and the greatest. Yep, it's that easy. So 5-number summary starts with least, then Q1, Q2, Q3, then the greatest. So key point number 5, we know that the range of a set of data is the difference between the largest and the smallest values, right? Biggest minus smallest. But there's a second type of range known as the interquartile range, or the IQR. Everybody say interquartile range. Great. Interquartile range. Interquartile range. So IQR. To find what the IQR is, all we have to do is find the difference between Q1 and Q3. So we're going to do one together, and I'm going to describe to you how to find IQR, and then you're going to have some practice ones for homework. So first thing we need to do is find Q2, Q3, Q1, all those things. You're welcome. These numbers are already in order. Get rid of 20, 60, 25, 45, 25, 40. All right, so this one, Q2, is 30. For Q1, all the numbers that are less, in the middle is 25. And for Q3, we should have 45. So that's the first 3 parts of the 5-number summary. The last parts, so the minimum, the smallest one is 20. And the maximum, the biggest one, is 60. Now remember, this just said that to find the interquartile range, we subtract Q1 and Q3. So in this problem, Q1 was 25, Q3 was 45. So we do 45 minus 25 equals 20. And again, if you're like, wait, where did those numbers come from? The 25 came from Q1. The 45 came from Q3. You subtract the 2, the interquartile range is 20. So now you may be asking yourself, why do we care about what the IQR is? Well, as it says here, the IQR is important because it shows us the range of the middle 50% of my data. So basically it's saying, if this is Q1 and this is Q3, the IQR tells us that this is 50% of the data. So the IQR is how far apart these 2 numbers are. So it tells us 50% of the data is between between 25 and 45. Uh-oh, my 2 got cut off. That says 25 and 45. I know it may be kind of hard to see. All right, so 5-number summary. Minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, maximum. Your job, there are 2 sets of numbers here, okay, number 1 and number 2. Your job for homework is to find the minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, and the maximum. Then find the range, the IQR, and the mode. Okay, again, if you don't know what one of these are, I really suggest you go back and look at your notes. This should not take you more than 10 minutes. If it's taking you more than 10 minutes, then you need to go back and check over. Basically, everything you need to know should be in this lesson except for the mode, which at this point I'm not going to tell you because you can refer back to it. That will make your memory hopefully stick a little bit better. These numbers are already in order for you, so you don't even have to do that. Shouldn't take us that long. So when you come back into school tomorrow, make sure that all of these and all of these have been completed, the entire last page, for us to check. All right, you guys have a good evening, and we will see you tomorrow.